So this is the Shroud of Turin. There are many Christians around the world who venerate this religious artifact, who travel to Turin, Italy, just to see it, and they pray over it, and they have emotional events. They have what they would call spiritual moments when they see the Shroud of Turin, because then they say they feel closer to Jesus. Their faith has been uplifted to a higher standard, higher level. This often happens when people are around artifacts that are claimed to be something of whatever the religion is, or to be in a place where it is claimed that something happened. When I was a Christian, I had such emotional events. When I was in Bethlehem, when I was at the Wailing Wall, when I went to Calvary, those events, very emotional, very powerful things. And with this knowledge that people will invoke very powerful and emotional things, it have a very powerful and emotion towards these types of things. Religious leaders throughout time have always called or said that some place is special, some place is holy. God touched this spot. This artifact is imbued with the power of God. We know that Constantine's mother, Helena, claimed to have found the true cross and started giving it out as gifts to different people, different countries, and that those pieces of the cross have made the people of that country feel special and connected, or that region. And all the way up into today, people still do this, and they feel that there are enough pieces of the true cross to make 100 crosses. So it's a very interesting thing. And although I can easily debunk that this is not the Shroud of Turin with just one simple question, non-scientific, doesn't require CT14 dating, doesn't require uranium dating, doesn't require anything. Just one simple question would debunk the Shroud of Turin. And that is this: are there any contemporary images of Jesus? Is there a description of his eyes, his nose, his mouth, the shape of his head, the texture of his hair in the Gospels, not Revelations, in the Gospels, contemporary? See, John of Patmos could not give a contemporary description of Jesus because John of Patmos didn't know Jesus, didn't walk with Jesus, didn't meet Jesus. So contemporary description has to be by somebody who met him, walked with him, looked at him, knew what his features were. The same way you would do a police sketch, that type of, or a caricature. We know that people in history, how they look, because they set for portraits. Nero set for portraits, so we know what Nero looked like, and he set for portrait over years, so we can see the time frame of how he got fat. So, are there any contemporary images of Jesus? No. I would even accept a contemporary picture of Jesus if it was done in, say, 34 or 35 or 40. Because then it would be someone who was closer to the memory and say, you know what, he died. We believe him to be the Savior. Bam, I'm going to draw a picture of him. But we don't have that. The oldest thing we have is a mockery. And he had a donkey's head. So no. Shroud of Turin is fake. Shroud of Turin is a 12th century creation. And no one would even know who that is. Plus, it generally looks like the people who create, which is what all gods do. They look like the people who they created, except for the ones that fell into this religion through slavery and barbary. But here's the other thing that I want you to consider. When people have these moments at the Pool of Bethesda in Jerusalem today, when people go and they throw stones at the Kaaba in Mecca, are they having a religious experience? Or are they only just having an emotional experience based on the indoctrination that they have been either introduced to from birth, somewhat as a secondary by living in a society, or they went through an emotional event, and because of their secondary by environmental society or birth indoctrination, they then claim that this is why this emotional response happened, this experience, this religious experience. But in every case, it's simply an emotional response. Nothing more, nothing less. An emotional response is something that somebody dug into you. Because remember, the same one that a Christian has is the same one that a Muslim has. It's the same one that a Hindu has. It's the same one that a Buddhist has. It's the same one that a Ifa has. It's the same one that everybody has. So when I realized that, it was one of the big things that helped me deconstruct from Christianity. That all those experiences in Rome and Saudi Arabia, and Jerusalem, and the Jordan, Sea of Galilee, all were simply emotional responses that I was having based on the indoctrination that I was given as a child into Christianity. And now looking back on them, I see them for what they were what was truly going on. I see the true emotions, which is none of you guys' business, but the true emotions that I was going through at that time frame, and realize why those emotions were there, were present. But I will say, it gave me comfort at that time frame. It did give me comfort. But did I have to have comfort through that method? Because if I had had comfort through an actual method that would have been more beneficial to me, uh, that was non-religious, I should say, it would have been more beneficial to me. Put those words in the wrong order. But it would have been more beneficial to me if I had gotten it from an outside source and not that source. Yeah, things you learn when you grow. So always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.